Hello and welcome back to the series where I take a square out of the Granny Square Stitches card deck every week and we make it together. So we are up to week number 26, which is this one called Scallops. And I have pulled some colors of my Anthem yarn. So let's bring that in. Today we are working with Coral, Pink Pearl, and Cactus. All right, let's take a look at our card. To work the square shown on the card, make 14 chain and follow chart, working in 2 row stripes of yarns A through C until square, ending with an even numbered row. I see a whole lot of chains here, so that's kind of fun. Then we're going to do the single crochet edging that we've been doing every week. I probably, well, we'll see when we get there. I definitely won't go through the whole thing, but I might go through the setup round because we got a lot of chains we're dealing with, so there might be an issue with where to put stitches. And then over here, to work the stitch pattern any size, your starting chain needs to be a multiple of 6, and then you add 2. All right, so after we make our chain of 14, we are going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. We're going to be skipping 2 chain and then making our scalloped shape. So that is 1, 2, 3 double crochets and then a chain and then 3 more double crochets all into that one chain along the bottom. Then we're going to skip 2 chains and single crochet and repeat. We don't change color right away. We're creating this almost like a box, like a boxed in, like we're boxing in the scallop. So we single crochet in our last chain and then we chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Single crochet into that chain space between our 2 3 double crochet clusters. And then we chain 3 and then we double crochet into this single crochet down below. And again, repeat that. So I will be putting a stitch marker right here because you see how we have to single crochet into this 3rd chain. I will be putting a stitch marker there and one in the very first single crochet. Okay, let's work that together. Okay, I am starting with my cactus and I'll put a slip knot on my hook. I'm using a 5mm hook that is good for this particular yarn. And then we need 14 chains. You should know by now that I like to work into my back bump, so I'm turning my chain over. My first bump is right by my hook. That is my second chain, my second bump. So that's where I put my first single crochet and my first stitch marker. Now I'm going to skip 2 chains, so skip 2 of those bumps, and in this 3rd bump I need to put 3 double crochets. That's 1, 2, and 3. We're going to chain 1 and then I need to put 3 more right back into this same chain. It is getting quite stretched out, as you can see there. And now I need to skip 2 chains. So I'm gonna give my my starting chain a tug, just because I've stretched this one loop out so big. The one next to it gets shrunk and hidden. So I just pulled my chain a little bit so that I could expose that. I don't want to skip it is the point. So I need to skip 2 chains here and then single crochet. Your single crochet, this is fairly standard if you're making like a scallop shape, because then it locks that shape down into, in this case, a chain, but if you're working like a row or if you're putting this on like as a border, it locks it down and helps it keep its shape. We're going to skip 2 chains again and repeat that. So I need 3 double crochets. need a chain of 1 and then 3 double crochets all back into that same chain. Oops, got a knot. And now I'm going to skip 2 chains and single crochet in my last chain. We're not changing color yet, so I don't have to change color in that chain, but that's what we have so far. So now this is where we're creating these kind of boxes around our scallop. So I'm going to do this in steps. I'm going to chain 3 and mark that chain. There we go. I'm going to chain 3 again. So where my stitch marker is becomes the corner, which will eventually be held in place by stitches. This other chain 3 is coming over to the center of my scallop. Now I need to find that chain 1 space in the middle there and lock that in. So now that that's locked in, you can kind of see this is going to create a corner. Now I need to chain 3 again, find my single crochet in between my 2 scallops and double crochet into that. Chain 3 again, find my chain 1 space in between my double crochet clusters and single crochet. Now I'm going to chain 3 again. And we're going to double crochet into this starting single crochet. This is where we're going to change color. So I've started my double crochet, and let's get to my coral out next. I like to bring my green over my whatever color I'm working with. I like to lay it on top of my hook before I add on my new color. And then I'm going to pull that new color through all 3 loops on my hook. Now I assume I'm going to be chaining 3, so I'm just going to chain 3 and replace my stitch marker, and then we can look at the card. Okay, I was wrong. I'm not chaining 3, but we can fix that. So this is where we are. I've just done this double crochet. I've changed color, so I need to actually chain 1 and single crochet into the top of that double crochet, and then we're just basically repeating what we've done below. So we're going to skip right over this chain 3 and into the single crochet in the middle. We're going to create our fan shape, single crochet on top of the double crochet in between those 2 fans below, and then repeat that, and we're going to keep doing that. Okay, so let's do this one more time together. We're going to take out this chain 3. I'm going to leave that chain 1 in place, turn my work, and now I can single crochet. I'm just going to put my other tails on top of my hook and kind of lock them behind there, and hopefully that will help when I need to weave in ends. I am going to go ahead and cut my green off. If we're going by the photo, I will need 1 more row of green, but it's pretty far up there on the card, so I'm thinking that we're not going to be pulling it up. All right, so I've got my pink in place, and I'm skipping over all of these chains, and I'm going straight to my single crochet, and I'm going to make my double crochet clusters there. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, 1, 2, and 3. This is my double crochet, so I am going to put a single crochet on top of that, and then repeat. So I come all the way over here, do my 3 double crochets, a chain of 1, and then 3 more double crochets. Oof. Where my stitch marker is where I need to single crochet. So I'm going to take my stitch marker out, but I'm holding on to the chain where it was, and I'm going to single crochet in that chain, and then we're going to create our little box. So I'm going to chain 3, replace my stitch marker, turn my work, I'm going to chain 3 again, single crochet into this chain 1 space in between my double crochet clusters, chain 3 again. In this single crochet we can double crochet, so come all the way down, do my double crochet, another chain 3, and find my chain 1 space and single crochet in that, chain 3. And then I can remove the stitch marker. I'm going to put a double crochet in this stitch, and I'm going to change to my orange. So again, I'm going to lay the color that I'm changing out of on top of my hook, bring in my new color, lay that on my hook, and pull that through all 3. I can chain 1, turn my work, and I can single crochet. And again, I'm going to lay my tails just on top of that single crochet just to help trap them in there a little bit better. Replace my stitch marker, and I can cut off my coral. So we're just going to repeat that one more time with the peach, and then go back to the green. Once I have finished that, I will come back and we will talk borders together. See you then. My repeats are finished. I have woven in my ends, so now it is time to start the border. So I spoke at the beginning that maybe we would kind of just go over stitch placement, and I think that is kind of a good idea. So we started with 14 chains and worked into the second chain from the hook. So it means that theoretically we have 13 stitches across the bottom, which is less than a lot of our other squares. Again, not a big deal if you're just making a square as a sample. More of a bigger deal for me because I do plan to sew all these squares together to create a blanket. Now, I know there are ways to fudge, so I'm not that super duper concerned. But I wanted to look at the card because this will give us some tips on what they have done as far as stitch placement. The issue is, because up top here we have these chains of 3, theoretically you should be putting 3 single crochets into them. My question, I guess, that I wanted the card to answer was, did they put 3 or did they put 2? 2 stitches into these spaces would then give you the 13 across the top that you need to match the 13 across the bottom. So looking at this, it definitely looks like that's what they've done. So 1 stitch in the corner where you have the single, or sorry, here you have a double crochet. So 1 stitch here on top of the double crochet, 2 to cover this chain 3 space, 1 in the single crochet, 2 here, 1 in the double crochet, 2 here, 1 in the single, 2 here, and then 1 where my stitch marker is still remaining. Coming down the side, again, we've got 2 in these chain, what are essentially chain 3 spaces, so 2 single crochets there, 1 in this join between color blocks, that was a single crochet there, 2 in the chain 3 space, and repeating all the way down. So that's what we are going to do. They have bordered their square in the purple, which is the second color, and for me that's my coral. So that's what we're gonna do. So I don't want a lot of extra bulk in my corner space, so I'm going to insert my hook into that corner space. Let's just make sure we're nice and zoomed in. Put a loop on my hook and draw it through. And then I can chain 1 there, and go right back in for my single crochet. And now we're going to single crochet over this chain 3 space. So remember, just 2 in that chain 3 space, 1 single crochet on top of single crochet, 2 over this chain 3 space, 1 in the top of this double crochet, 2 in the chain 3 space. We got a single crochet next, so 1 single crochet on top of that. We're working over the chain until we get to where my stitch marker is, and I want to make sure that I work into the chain here to give it a nice crisp corner. So single crochet, we're going to create our single crochet edging. So I'm making a corner, so I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to go right back into that same chain space and create another single crochet in there. So now we've got our chain 3 spaces, or chain 3s, I guess. 2 single crochets there. We're going to do 1 here, sort of where those 2 colors meet. 2 on this chain 3 space. 1 where the colors meet. So it's pretty simple, nothing complicated at all, which I appreciate. And then 1 right into the bottom. And again, that's our corner. Before I turn the corner though, I just want to double check my count. And that's 13. So that equals what I have up top. Perfect. So we're at the corner, so I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to go right back into that space. Now along the bottom, here we've got a chain, like we skipped 2 chains, so I'm going to put 2 single crochets in there. I'm going to put 1 in this big wide stitch, 2 in the next chain 2 space, 1 in this middle single crochet, 2 over the next chain 2 space, 1 in that big stitch. It's gotten real big. And then we're back at the very first stitch. So that gets a single crochet, a chain 1. I'm going to go right back into that space to create my corner. And now we just need to repeat what we did up the side. Two around that chain 3. I have woven in ends into here, so getting my hook through is going to be a little bit harder than it was on the other side, but just find a way through. You want 1 stitch to cover that space. And we're at our last chain 3. Actually, I guess these are double crochets. And our last stitch is going to go in this single crochet where we started. It's just gotten a little bit twisted, so let's straighten that out. And we can chain 1, slip stitch to this first single crochet, chain 1, and then start round 2, which is just a single crochet in every stitch. In our chain 1 spaces, we're going to do a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet to complete the edges. And I'll be back when that is done. All finished. So that is week number 26. This is called Scallops. And next week, please come back for this one called Wiggle. Okay. Oh, that's a fun name. Alrighty. I will see you then. Have a great week. Bye-bye.